Good morning, everybody in Canada, USA, Latin America. Good afternoon, everybody in entire Europe. And of course, early evening in the Middle East, Central Asia, and other parts. And of course, early evening around 7 p.m. in India. And little late evening, people must have finished with their soup or they must have just had their dinner in entire Southeast Asia, Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, wherever you are, including Brunei, because a lot of people join us from there. And of course, people are dreaming at this point of time in Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, and a couple of other places. Ladies and gentlemen, yet another evening, wonderful evening with three distinguished guests this evening with us. And we are moving in our series, Making Education Relevant, which we started on World Environment Day on 5th of June. And we will continue till 15th of August, India's Independence Day. So while extending a very hearty welcome to all my friends, brothers, and sisters world over, it is a global confluence of educators with the best practices in education, innovation, and research, while empowering the entire education ecosystem. And our focus is youth, youth, and youth. Ladies and gentlemen, due to the COVID-19, of course, enough has been conveyed by all of us. Those are well-wishers of each other on this planet. I hope you're taking care of yourself, your family, your friends, your relatives, your neighbors, your community, and whosoever is directly, indirectly near you, contact with you. Hope you're taking care of each other. Please look after your health and your wellness. If you're mentally strong, your body will follow physically. There is no problem at all. You've got to be mentally very strong, mentally very positive with a positive attitude all the time. Due to this COVID-19 pandemic, almost 850 million children and the youth roughly, that means half the world's students population, they are at present away from the schools, colleges, universities world over. Of course, we have got to the new norms. Sir Ken Robinson, to whom I keep meeting from time to time, as and when I visit United States earlier, when I was meeting him in Europe, UK, a couple of other places, he says there are four purposes of education. Ladies and gentlemen, various sectors of the economy are suffering at this point of time. I come from the background of tourism, hospitality, airlines. When I talk about service sector, we have got the maximum blow of this COVID-19. But one of the sector which is the base and the foundation of the humanity in all the continents, and that is education. And when we talk about parents, when we talk about educators, teachers, and when we talk about the youth, those are locked in at this point of time. And there are new pedagogy which has come. When we talk about the Western thought process, what is the purpose of education? Why to study? Why to take a particular subject? Somebody studying art, commerce, science, medical, non-medical. So Western philosophy of the education is there is an economic purpose of education. That means every parent is looking forward to when our child will grow, they will start doing some part-time job, full-time job, startups, stand-up, and self-employment, employment, whatever they can do. So economic purpose is given the importance. With that comes the social, cultural, and the fourth part, which is the most important part, is that is personal purpose. The child has to understand and child want to know, why am I studying this particular subject? Why I have joined this particular discipline? And Sir Ken Robinson says, knowledge is a collective contribution. It's not a monologue, it's a conversation. That's something is very important. When we come to India, and when we look at the entire purpose of education from the Indian perspective, nowadays I'm getting time to go through more and more literature. I read so much about Takshila. I read about world's first residential university with 10,000 students and 2,000 acharyas. That is in Patliputra. When I talk about Nalanda, and then of course, a couple of other educational hubs and educational institutions where from the civilization started and moved. Indian perspective of education is Vasudeva Kutumbakam. That is our culture. The whole world, we should respect each other's culture. We should respect each other's social norms. And thereafter comes the economic purpose that gets the third priority. And then, of course, there's a fourth purpose. That's a personal purpose. Why somebody is taking a particular subject. Why do I show these slides to you each day? Because my participants are different world over. Some of us, those join us as a new candidate, new participant, new audience for the benefit of all. And I'm so grateful to each one of you from the different countries. You're coming on Facebook, Dr. Gulshan Sharma's page. You're coming in the watch party. You're coming on YouTube. You're coming on Twitter handle, wherever you are coming. And some of us, those are joining us on the webinar. I'm so grateful to each one of you. Slowly and gradually, we started in a humble way with about 500 people. And yesterday we touched about 11,600 people world over. My deep and great salutation, regards, and I bow my head before you, because the world is because of all of us, and because of you, this particular program will get the oxygen and the strength. So ladies and gentlemen, during this lockdown, how the technological tools are being used by educators. Principals are having tough time, teachers are having tough time. They're trying to develop. There are technical glitches, there are flaws, there are problems, but at the same time, they are very positive. With the positive attitude, they are trying to impart whatever. And slowly and gradually, things are becoming seamless. Imagine what the scenario was on 25th of March and what it is today when we are touching 17th of June. There is a lot of development, technological advancement, TV channels, community radio, mobile phones, electronic gadgets, pre-recorded contents, couple of things which are coming on the way to facilitate. My great salutations, like we say, our doctors, our nurses, our paramedical and other supporting staff are the warriors. For me in person, I consider, besides them, of course, the medical profession people are doing great job, but my deep and great salutation to all teachers, all educators world over, wherever you are. I am getting great support from the UNESCO. My deep thanks to Mr. Eric, Mr. Omar, and his entire team. They are just wonderful. Madam Swarnima Luthraji, she's coordinating this entire program and packaging as far as school, the base foundation where from we have started this program. Of course, thereafter, I will share with you, I will unveil the slides and you will come to know what exactly is the objective, what is the purpose, why are we having this program, and how gradually we are building up. If the foundation is strong, you can have the structure and the superstructures and multi-story, whatever you need. So ladies and gentlemen, what could be further innovative, creative, pragmatic approach to impart education to children, our youth today? Number one, 100% relevance to the present times. During this particular time, I'm sure you must have learned how to repair your own tap, how to repair your own tube light and bulb in your residence. At the same time, small things you must be fixing up with your parents. The youth must be becoming supportive to take care of your scooter, your motorcycle, your car, your kitchen garden, because no need of having any more ornamental plants. Let's have the basic organic kheti, basic organic, whatever you can develop in your kitchen garden, so that if the lockdown, nobody knows today how long the COVID and how long this particular pandemic will go on, when the first vaccine will come, and even if the vaccine come, who is going to get it first? Because such a large population. So there has to be 100% relevance to the present times. Education, research and creativity is very important for all of us. Corporate sector is giving a tremendous approach and tremendous support. So corporate and academia, their interface and collaboration and cooperation and togetherness and the creativity is very important. Adaptation to the technology. See, those of us, look at my age. At the age of 70, if I can pick up the technical skills, and if I'm passionate about picking up these skills, then each one of you, I'm pretty sure you're quite young, learn the best possible way, whatever you can pick up, and take it in a positive way, take it in a very innovative way. We all are humble students, we learn from each other. Then, culture and value-based education is very, very important. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, the whole purpose is, our focus is youth to get the life management skills. That's what we are looking forward to. If India has to become Vishwaguru, विश्व गुरु बनना है भारत, भारत का सम्मान करो. If India has to become Vishwa Guru, it will not become Vishwa Guru at its own. It's all of us together. We have to put our samagri in this Havan Kund. There has to be a confluence of innovative strategies, creativity, collaboration, and innovative pedagogies. They all have to come together, whatsoever best we can do. Then only we will be in a position to empower the entire education system and transform the humanity. Swami Vivekananda ji says, all power is within you. You can do wonders on this planet. Start realizing every child got to be positive. Monday to Friday, my brothers and sisters world over, those are linked with this program. Please share these programs with others also. Monday to Friday, we talk about education empowerment, but every Saturday, we talk about your wellness, yoga, meditation, naturopathy, nutrition, good food, positive thoughts, harmony, music therapy, and laughter and happiness and positive approach and positive attitude. That's what we bring to you. Ministry of Ayush is giving a great support. Namo Gange and a couple of other organizations are coming. So next Saturday, that's on 20th of June, that is Zoom webinar, as well as the Facebook, our page, Dr. Gulshan Sharma, and the YouTube. Please do join us. That is on the wellness. That is coming Saturday. Then, every Sunday morning, the sun rises with international inputs, international faculty. I'm so happy. I'm getting a lot of inputs from Canada. I'm getting from US. I'm getting from Europe. I'm getting from Australia. I'm getting from New Zealand. And Dato Rameshji, who is awake at this point of time when it is at present 10:41 p.m. evening in Malaysia. And my president in Bangkok, Professor Pantrip Narula ji, thank you very much for joining and thank you very much for being with us. And all other delegates, those have joined, we need your strength and we need your support. And coming Sunday, we are going to talk about harnessing well-being of educators through Buddhist psychology. That is coming through at 9:30 a.m. International Yoga Day. 21st is the International Yoga Day. So coming Sunday, don't forget, we'll do yoga together. We'll talk about Buddhist psychology, philosophy, and how it is related to education and how to empower our educators. We are going to talk about that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, question comes, Dr. Gulshan Sharma, how this chamber, ICSI, International Chamber for Service Industry, which is a bridge between India and all the non-resident Indian PIOs and other brothers and sisters, those are native of respective countries, they are giving a support to our chamber. How we started the campaign on 5th of June and we are continuing till 15th of August, that is India's Independence Day. During this time, we are starting with the school education foundation, then we'll move to the higher education, then we'll move to technical education. I'll share with you that. So, World Environment Day, we took a pledge, Jal Sanrakshan. That means let's save water together. At this point of time, children are with their parents at home. So at present, when we all are at home, parents and youth, I would request each one of you, the family, let's save water in all activities at your home. Water is going to be the next disaster and a crisis world over. If we do not save water, we are going to have lots of problems in coming times. And once the lockdown will be over, once the situation become normal, of course, we will not get back to that normal, what it used to be in month of January and February. But what normal would come once the lockdown and this particular partial lockdown or whatever is there will get over and this pandemic is over and we are back to schools, colleges, university campuses, workplace, factories, shopping malls. You got to save every drop of water everywhere, wherever you are. We also very strongly propose on 15th of August, we are submitting our recommendations to Government of India, to Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Human Resource Development Minister. And let me share with you another one legend, one of my mentors to whom I hold in a great respect and regards, that is Adarniya Shri Mukul Kanitkar ji from the Bharatiya Shiksha Mandal. He's doing a great job, great job. We are the supports We are coming from all directions. Whenever I hear him, whenever I listen to him, do watch him on Bharatiya Shiksha Mandal, Mukul Kanitkar ji, and Saraswati and the Vani. What comes? His voice, he has been gifted by Saraswati Ma in such a way that each and every word what he says, it is something remarkable. Every lecture, every word of that man is something which is very pious, which I get it. Now, we are strongly recommending to the government, like you have tourism, you have hospitality, you have got fashion designing, you've got various subjects which are there in the vocational. Why can't we have water conservation as one of the vocational subjects? Because when it will come as a vocational subject and there's a dedicated teacher, dedicated staff, and it's a part of curriculum, you see, like we built up Indian toilets and so much of cleanliness and hygiene, how to keep India clean and how to make it clean. A lot of efforts have been put in on that. So the way we understand, let's go that way. No worries, no problems. Month of April and May 2020, our chamber has carried out a research, and from 43 countries, what we got the inputs, this is going to be the norm of the world. The B2B will no more, it will be known as business to business. It will be known as back to basics. So ladies and gentlemen, I would make a humble request to you as an elder brother of the family, all my brothers and sisters and all families, start growing vegetables in your kitchen garden, on your rooftop, start growing basic needs of life. Agriculture, animal husbandry, food is going to be the basic necessity. I was talking to somebody the other day and he gave me such a vision. He said, when the people were walking on the roadsides, national highways and state highways, why didn't we have the fruit trees over there? Instead of ornamental trees, had we got the fruit trees over there, people would have just plucked it over there. They would have eaten and they would have moved further and things would have been very, very different. So let's start growing plants which are needed, fruit trees and organic farming. Number two, your health and wellness. It's very important for each one of us, which I would request you. And when I talk about your wellness, it's not only your body, it's your mind. Read a book, beautiful book by Tim Grover on the YouTube, the coach for the Michael Jordan. He says we devote whole time on our body. We keep building our backs, but we don't try and use the muscles. We don't make mentally robust our children. Today, if any youth is passing through a depression, stress, anxiety, it is because they are not mentally tough. One of the purpose of education is also we have to understand we got to be mentally robust. So take care of your health. That's what we would like to wish. Third, digital education, e-learning, part-time job while studying. Because in India, we keep telling our children, do your graduation, do your masters, do your second masters, no problem. We will take care of you. Parents sacrifice so much to give the best of education to their children. Because now the norms are changing. Children got to own responsibility. They got to join hand with their parents. The family has to be united in such a way and laugh as much as you can throughout the day during this period. My mother is 90 plus and she listens to romantic songs, music therapy whole day. My grandchild, my mother, my wife, my children, we all laugh throughout the day, and each one of us, while observing the social and physical distancing, you can remain happy. Start understanding humanity. Sustainable development is future. Sustainable development. We got to get over all the luxuries and the frills. Ladies and gentlemen, very important to understand. Whatsoever human mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. That should be the basic philosophy and principle in every educational institution. And every child has to understand it's not which has come today, it's from 1908, 1908. One of the book which I'm reading nowadays, it says whatsoever human mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And we all have to achieve. Let's come together. Let's make global education empowerment together program. International Chamber for Service Industry looks forward to more and more panelists, more and more inputs, more and more suggestions. We will be submitting a report to the government, and in a very humble way, We look forward to your valuable suggestions. We are given the email innovation@icsI.asia. There are two WhatsApp numbers also, which we have given over here. Do join us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for me, my dignitaries and my distinguished guests and my fellow panelists this evening, they are not less than any film stars for me. And I always look at the classroom is a theater, teacher is an actor, performer. The students, those are sitting over there, they are audience. And when you're delivering your lecture, that's a dialogue for your movie. And when that entire environment goes, let me hold and let me work out why there should be anchors only for Filmfare Awards or Indian Idols. Let me share with you, every teacher is an anchor, every educator is an anchor, every person whosoever is directly or indirectly associated with the education system is an anchor. So let me get into the mood and arena of anchorship. Ladies and gentlemen, let me extend a very hearty welcome to my fellow distinguished guests and esteemed personalities this evening. We have got Dr. Amita Mullah Watalji. She's a principal of Springdale's Pusa Road. She's a founder principal, Springdale's Dubai. She's a chairperson, Global Inclusive Education Network. She's a chairperson of Uruswati, an education platform. She's a former chairperson, National Progressive Schools Conference. She has worked in the sphere of education, creative arts, special needs education, communicative English, street theater, women education, peace studies, and curriculum development for over 4 decades. Recipient of the prestigious National Teacher Award from the President of India and the Andor Award from the Australian government for work in Asia literacy. I extend a very hearty welcome to Dr. Amita Mullah Watalji. Thanks for joining us this evening. I extend a very hearty welcome to Shri A.P. Sharma ji. He's a principal, Birla Public School from Doha. Thanks for joining us from Doha. Give us some kind of an input, what all is happening in that particular zone, region, and how the situation, how basically the things are moving. So while giving a hearty welcome to Shri A.P. Sharma ji, welcome to join from Doha, education strategist and a curriculum expert, a national awardee and a CBSE awardee, a total of 32 years of experience as an educationist. He's an exemplary leadership award from the Honorable President of India, Shri Pranab Mukherjee. He's authored many articles on parenting and education pedagogy, specializes in design thinking, parenting, and leadership. A very hearty welcome to you, Shri A.P. Sharma ji from Doha, for joining us this evening. Very hearty welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, we have also been joined very dynamic and very innovative and a creative personality, Mrs. Chitra Ravi, founder and CEO of the Chrysalis. Chitra Raviji is an educational visionary who has spent the last 2 decades building community and developing solutions to bring a fundamental change in the education system. In 2001, she founded Chrysalis, a state-of-the-art educational research and innovation organization with a vision to awaken the innate human potential in every child. Under her leadership, the Chrysalis has been conferred prestigious awards, including the ET Now Game Changer Award from over 60,000 companies which were nominated during that particular award competition. Kids drop out of the schools mentally due to the boring methodologies and inauthentic assessments. Such dropout rates are not measured, is the problem statement she wishes to work on through the Chrysalis and its endeavors. In her talks addressing school leaders in India and abroad, she has emphasized on the importance of bringing a culture of thinking in the classrooms, as well creating emotionally safe learning environmental for children. So ladies and gentlemen, let me take a privilege to invite my three distinguished guests. Of course, the canvas is there. We can put as many colors as we feel like. How to boost our youth spirit in the face of COVID-19, the emotion regulation way, design thinking, parenting, leadership, motivation, creating independent learner. Of course, these are the areas which are going to be deliberated and debated this evening, and they're going to share their views. So with these words, ladies and gentlemen, the curtains are removed, and I get you three eminent panelists and a distinguished guest this evening joining us. Let me start the evening. Wow, I can see the people from Doha. I can see Amita ji. I can see Chitra ma'am. Wonderful. It's a golden triangle which has come together, and they're going to share the thought process with us this evening. Now, let me make a humble beginning this evening with Amita ji. I met her on a couple of platforms. Last time we were together in UNESCO platform, and she shared wonderful views over there. And in fact, it was so enriching, and it was a great learning for me as well. So as a student, as a very humble student, I would also like to learn from three of you this evening. Whatever best we can pick up. Let's have the positive notes. Let's have a positivity, and let's empower all the youth, all the teachers, all the educators, and everybody, whosoever is a part of ecosystem of education world over. Madam Amita Mullah Watalchi.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Gulshan Sharma. You are one of the most passionate people that I have come across. And I'm so honored that I'm on your platform today. And listening to you has been a sheer joy. And I would like to thank my friend Sonia Luthra for having bridged this bridge between you and me, because I always do remember you as a person who's so committed to learning and have been with you at various forums. So many congratulations for the way that you've been conducting yourself. It's absolutely awesome. Thank you for that. And thank you for having me. Having said that, I listened very, very carefully to what you were speaking. And I want to take off on the sustainable developmental goals. And if I can talk about 1, 4, and 2, because these are the goals which we talk about: zero hunger, we talk about no poverty, and we talk about quality education. And currently, we're in a mess as far as all three are concerned. Because across the world, there is hunger. Across the world, because of economic crisis, poverty is growing in a huge way. And across the world, there are issues about quality of education that is being transacted. This online phenomena is actually an online pandemic. And it is extremely divisive. There are millions of children who have gone into an abyss, and it's no more a divide. And that's what I want to speak about, because this particular online phenomena of learning is something that we have to understand is a concept where it is very elite in nature. And so we automatically done away with inclusivism. Because there are, at least in India, there are 250 million children who don't have access to online learning, whereas there are just about 9.6 million children who have that access. Now, other than that, this is a recorded survey. There are so many unrecorded things which are which we know are there. And so what are we going to do as educators? Are we just going to be talking about elite schools and elite organizations? Because India is not elite. India is in the classroom. And the average Indian child comes from a lower middle class home. So how do we connect with them? The whole of rural India is in a bit of an abyss. So how do you work at that? And it's not only about India, because it's also about African American children. I know that the Katrina had sent them back by 2 years in learning. And the same way Rwanda had set back children by 10 years when there was a massacre. Now the pandemic is going to send back countries like India, like South America, like Mexico, like Black American Africans in the States, in Africa. We are going to be set back. So what are we looking at? Are we going to ensure that, are we going to work in our old paradigms of education? Or are we going to ensure that we are going to look at children who are marginalized, who may be privileged, who have it anyways, and who are disabled? So at all three levels, we have to look at how children are moving in the space of learning. I mean, what I would like to say is that in India, we have the Right to Education Bill, by which we were supposed to bring in 25% of children from very poor homes into the private schools. Today, even after, I would say, nearly after 9 years of the right to education, we still have only 12% of poor children across India and not 25%. And even out of those children who are there, many of them have left and gone because their parents have lost their livelihoods in the metro cities and gone back. I know personally because I run a school where there are lots of poor children. And I get these constant WhatsApp messages or phone calls from them saying that, we can't get connected because there are no bandwidths, there are no gadgets, there are no devices. So what are the kind of methods that we have to use in captive classrooms? How do we take it forward? How do we move this whole, this whole elasticity of learning that has come into us? Because let me assure you that whenever we come back into schools of brick and mortar, we're going to come back in a very stratified manner. And why is the manner going to be stratified? Because you're going to have a group of people who will be privileged, who would have been sitting in air-conditioned rooms and learning with these fancy gadgets. You'll have those who've not studied at all, and those who've just about managed, even after having loss of bandwidths and other things. Now, how are we going to look at this? And I'm glad that maybe in a shorter while, my colleague AP would probably looking at design thinking, or probably would looking at different kind of pedagogies. Because how do we bring these children up to a particular level? And I think that's very, very important as to how do we do that. And we have to look at these kind of pedagogies, which is very, very essential. What I would like to say is that, the greatest poverty generally occurs in nations which do not invest in education. And I'm not seeing much investment going on in education. In fact, state governments are telling parents not to pay the fees. So how does the school move forward if the fee isn't paid? How does the school supply gadgets? How does the school get involved with licenses? How does the school look at technology? And so if we are going to look at the fact that funding is not going to be there, and if this is the kind of strategy that is going to happen, it's going to be a big problem. It's going to be completely detrimental to growth of children in the mind and to learning. In fact, in a country like ours, it is imperative, absolutely imperative, that we look at 21st century pedagogies with an educational content which is delivered through economical wireless systems of 2.0 technologies. Let's have some bandwidth. Let's have some methodology by which we do it. In fact, I think central and state governments must look at platforms which do away with things like Google and which do away with things like Zoom and create personalized platforms through government so that we can be part of that personalized platform, which can embed a lot of valuable educational apps through which teachers can download and teach their children. In fact, again and again, during policy meetings with the government, I have sort of forced this issue, saying that the governments should do this. Why should we be falling back on Microsoft Teams? Because right now, everybody is very free. The moment schools open, we will have huge amounts of expenses for licenses. And that's a lot of money. And today, everybody is in economic crisis, especially private schooling is in a terrible mess as far as money is concerned. And so we need to have forward-looking, progressive governments that look at things like this, of having common platforms. I believe the Prime Minister did speak about a common platform, but it's about time that we started looking at it positively. And even the Central Board of Education or the ICSE or other state boards should create these platforms for children. Only then can I think something like this will happen. So we have to look at this kind of learning in a very huge way. Other problem that is there, and I feel that is very essential, is that 75% of children with disabilities, in any case, do not attend schools. Now, can you imagine that we have progressive schools who are trying to negotiate this? But today, there is no kind of set symbol, or there's no kind of set learning pattern through which children with disabilities can get into the online learning platform. So you have autistics who need to have therapy, who need occupational therapy, but parents cannot sit with them because it's difficult for them to sit with them without having a therapist. And so we have a whole huge group of people in inclusive, children of inclusive areas who have no access to learning. So can you imagine that we have completely taken away children with disabilities from the discourse? Why are we not looking at this? India has platforms like Disha. It has platforms like ePathshala. It has platforms like Swayam. These are all government platforms. But none of these platforms speak of any kind of learning or any kind of system through which children with disabilities can be looked at. So teachers are using combinations of teleconferencing. We are using things where we can have helplines for them. We're using things where we're sending up some kind of recorded material for them. But that is really not the way that children with disability learns. And we do not have sufficient software for that kind of work. In fact, CBSE has approximately 22,000 schools across the country. And it's a progressive board which has really looked at children with disabilities. But having said that, nobody was ready for the pandemic. So nobody was ready for how do we look at children with disabilities online. Somehow teachers have managed in their own arbitrary manner to the best of their capabilities for regular online learning by bringing in the content on the platform. But this way, the children with disabilities have been completely out of the debate. So as a result of this, I would say that those schools are working extremely hard, but yet there is, for these children, there is no screen tolerance because they're not used to being sitting in front of the screens. Some of them are suffering from extreme mental anxiety, from loneliness, from depression. Those with language disabilities cannot even understand or comprehend what this whole pandemic is about. And the total lockdown has created this huge problem for them. So how do they cope with anxiety? How do they understand issues of mental health? There are also things where for autism, you need regular occupational therapy inputs. They need a sensory diet. It's not there because nobody knows how to go forward with it. The other thing is students who are on medication. I'm talking about children with special needs. They struggle to get their review done by respective doctors, and their comorbid issues requiring attention have remained untreated. So I think the schools have tried to do their best. We've tried to give individualized home programs to parents, which consists of various domains, social, motor, and cognitive. We've given out worksheets. We've tried to track them, but this is very few. We have tried to bring in assistive technologies, but how many? It's a drop in the ocean. I think this is where we have to come in as for mental health issues, as emotional and social learning has to be embedded into our system. Somehow teachers have to involve themselves, whether it is with the poor, whether it is with the marginalized, whether it's the child which is disabled. Otherwise, we will lose millions of our children. It has been said, and I want to round it up by now, it's been said that by 2030, we would have had 300 million children who were not learning, who were in school but not learning. But let me tell you today, many more children will join those ranks, and we will have millions of children who are stratified. Because the children should be our priority, not an afterthought. But what is happening in today's online learning is children have become an afterthought, whether it is through poverty, whether it is through hunger, whether it is the fact that we are not dispensing learning to children in an equitable and equal manner. That's all I want to say. Thank you very much for giving me this platform.
Wonderful, ma'am. It's always a treat to listen to you. You always come out with the pragmatic, positive, and a constructive approach and recommendations. And the action plan, what we are developing, I'm going to take all those suggestions. And investment in education, and children should be our priority. Education, how it has to be given priority. And the strongest point which I have brought is the government should provide the personalized platform. Why we should be depending on other platforms so that, and it should not bring additional economic burden to institutions, because already as it is, they're going to be having a lot of losses, problems, difficulties, because a couple of issues are there. We all understand that economic situation. So I think the entire ecosystem where the education has to be given a priority in the budget allocation. And certainly I would look forward to many more suggestion, recommendation, and input in coming times from you before we formulate the final report and submit to the government. Thank you very
Thank you
much
very
for the
much.
wonderful ideas. Ladies and gentlemen, now let me extend a very hearty welcome to Shri A.P. Sharma ji, right coming from Doha. First of all, I hope you're fine. Everybody around over there in Doha is fine and things are being taken care of.
Yeah,
And you come from the Birla Public School. You've got a long association with the education. You have got such a vast experience. When I was talking to you, I picked up so many threads and learned so much from you. You have got a couple of points to share with us, but this evening I would request you, let's focus on design thinking. We can talk somewhere on parenting, and we can also touch on leadership. You got to build the bridge, you got to build the triangle the way you feel like, but we would like to pick up and learn the best from you this evening. With these words, a very hearty welcome to Shri A.P. Sharma ji.
Good evening, India. Thank you very much, Dr. Gulshan, and my thanks to Sonia ji, Swarnima ji, for giving this opportunity. But I would start, first of all, being away from the country to the motherland. First of all, just I would like to offer the homage to all those brave soldiers who martyred on the Galwan. So just I pray to the Almighty that give the souls rest in peace. May their family members have that much strength to bear this irreparable loss. And for the whole country, it had not been a very normal thing. It was, of course, an abnormal thing. So I will take the thread from here that Amita ma'am talked about something, a pedagogy which can work everywhere, in village as well as in city and elite, everywhere, and it can reach. Actually, yesterday and day before yesterday, I was in some webinars and I listened from Dr. Senapati, who is the NCRT director, and I heard that he's talking about that we should move from knowledge acquisition to knowledge construction. And then I asked him a question that said the world has reached to knowledge creation. Not only acquisition and construction is required. Now, the countries which are doing great in education, they are thinking about beyond that. So just I thought of picking up this particular topic, and that too, I would have taken some other topic, but this was the request of Swarnima ma'am and Dr. Saab that take up this topic. This is very interesting. So basically I worked with design thinking. I will share the screen by the time. So I worked with design thinking with the William D. Koenig Academy, Netherlands, as well as MIT, US. So, and I found it very interesting that what we can do in life is more important to know that we should think something different. And of course, in such a way that everybody can get something out of it. I hope presentation is visible to you. First of all, I salute to all teachers, a significant coronavirus community working from behind the curtain. Thank you, teachers. So my topic is this one. And let me start from this. The most important thing in education is observation, which is missing. Unfortunately, the most important thing in education now has become just acquire the knowledge, clear the examination, and get the job. But yes, I was surprised. We were having another day, the International Olympiad of Science in Qatar. And the chairman of Olympiad Association came to my school and he was talking to my children and he said that from one experiment you can have more than 100 observations. Can you believe that just how to make oxygen in the laboratory, and from this particular experiment you can have hundreds of observations. Even looking at one particular point you can have hundreds of observations. It is very clear. James Watt observed the cattle. Many people watched the cattle, how it was jumping many, but he was the one who observed and tried to find out why and how we can utilize it. And this is education. Archimedes observed floating in the bathtub. Similarly, Isaac Newton observed the apple. Apple was there before also, and it was falling on ground and maybe on the head of many people, but it struck exactly on Newton's head to think about. So observations lead to thinking, and thinking leads to design. When you start thinking why it is happening, then certainly you will come to know, yes, I must see why it is happening. And then the thread starts moving from why to how and how to further. You will find it very interesting. For the ice breaking activities, just think about it. So once what happened, that there was an overloaded truck and it got stuck under a bridge, which you can see visible on the screen. And when this was there, everybody tried that how can we resolve this problem? There were all the tools, there were many laborers, which you can see very clearly here. But the bigger problem was how to get out. So the engineers were trying this and that. You can see a small child. So a small child came to this particular place and asked, what happened? It looks like a Rajasthani boy. So just he asked, what has happened? So they said, so see, even if a 1 inch it comes down, the truck can pass. He said, oh, do one thing, take out the air from the tire. So this is out of box thinking. This is thinking beyond whatever is available. Whatever is available, always restrict your knowledge, restrict your application, restrict your activity, restrict your observation. So try to think what is not available. So very simple thing in education happens through observation. So most important thing in education, even in villages or cities, you try, go to nature, take children outside and try to find out what do they observe. Maybe they will observe something which nobody has observed before in the world. And that particular child will become an Isaac Newton. That child will become a scientist. Or even nothing, he can innovate few things. Inventions are not possible every time. But yes, they are there. Discoveries are there. Nobody brought gravitational force from somewhere in the nature. It was already there. So we have to make observation capabilities. This is very interesting. So that day when I was talking to Dr. Senapati, and after that we discussed that right now education system in India is concentrating what a child is learning. That's why all the exams are conducted. What is this? How is this? Why is this? Maybe everything, but what he has learned is not that important in education. Most important is how child is learning. Because then move from knowledge acquisitions to knowledge construction. Again, how you can construct the knowledge. If you want to construct the house, you will use all the blocks, cement, and maybe mortar and whatever is available. That is construction. But how to apply is the next stage. That how you can apply this knowledge to find out, and you will find there it is a term new knowledge creation. That is create new knowledge. Unfortunately, Indians in India, hardly few got, or rather I must say only one, Dr. C.V. Raman got the Nobel Prize. But there were few who shifted to US from the Indian origin and got so many things and achievements, and including Nobel Prizes. So the problem here is we should not leave the education to knowledge acquisition. We should move to knowledge construction. And when I discussed with Dr. Senapati, he said, yes, Mr. Sharma, it's a very good suggestion. We will take design think into NCERT syllabus next time. And in knowledge application and new knowledge creation, how we do it. Suppose you want to teach, one of my vice principal was teaching another day about the mathematics. Pythagoras theorem is there. And you are teaching, okay, hypotenuse square is equal to base square plus the perpendicular square. Child will remember it, learn it. That's all. Now we have to see how you can utilize. You take him to a corridor and tell that, okay, you have to reach that particular window and you have to use a ladder. What should be the length of ladder? Try to find out if you know the height, and if you know what is the base, means how far it is away from this, he will know application. From application, he can create knowledge. And the same thing happened in this particular case, that people is from this method started triangular method, and even to know the distance of star from Earth, using the radius of Earth, using the diameter of Earth, interestingly. So for a child in a classroom or outside, it is very important that ask question, what do you observe? And tell children, inquire. From inquiry, child understand, construct, apply. And the most important thing is child must has a growth mindset. But before that, a teacher should have a growth mindset. We are very learned people in India, because if we are a teacher, we are blessed. Unfortunately, not that much blessed like in European countries where teachers are considered like God. But in India also, in villages, if you go, you are considered like God. Things are changing and we have to retain our position again. And this can be done with a growth mindset. Don't think whatever you have studied is the last word. Throughout your life, you are a student. So whatever you learn, you have to apply in teaching them to a student. Otherwise, you are teaching them what you have learned 20 or 30 years back. That growth mindset is always essential. So that was design thinking. And this is a beautiful model of design thinking. Right now, design thinking is applicable in the industry as well as in education. Right now, I'm giving you the normal and the generalized concept that how to resolve a problem. In design thinking, first of all, is empathize. Empathize means if we want to resolve a problem in a school, then interview few students, try to shadow them, seek to understand, and don't be judgmental. You should be non-judgmental. Suppose you want to find out a solution that why children are spending too much time on social media. This is the problem. And you can do very easily by these 4 steps. Then define, okay, so person's role objective, decisions, challenges, pain points. Then ideate, share ideas, all ideas worthy. Now, in a team building, it is very important that all ideas should be discussed. Do not consider any idea that this idea is useless, because most of the times useless ideas are the most useful ideas. So yes, and thinking, prioritize, then prototype means make a policy, and then test and verify. This is related to industry and education. On education, how you can utilize in curriculum, I will come on another slide. This is important thing. If you want to a prototype, prepare a prototype. When I had a workshop with the MIT US in Delhi, when I was a principal in Delhi, that time they came with this particular concept that if you want to resolve a problem, how you can resolve a problem, these are the 5 steps. We were talking that time about maybe the road safety and few other things. So for the road lights, they said, okay, you have some kind of light dependent resistances, LDRs. So the tube lights and road lights will be shed, and there will be no road lights on when it's a sunlight in the morning. Because I observed in Delhi, even during the day also, the road lights were working. So they decided that we will go with the prototype and we'll test it further. Now, this is the complete system, how to start. First of all, whatever you see, you will wonder, oh, we do? Then we must ask ourselves. In second step, observe. Again, I am saying observation is most important. Ask more questions. Tell children to ask more questions, more and more questions. Maybe they will ask few questions which you won't be able to answer. Try to find out the answers with them. And then if they stop, then you ask, how does this information help me to answer my questions? What are the new questions? Then try to build, compare and contrast, solve, debate, try to find out what children wants to know. Maybe a difference between living things and non-living things. And when you go to a plant, they will say it doesn't go, it doesn't move. Why it is living? How do we know it's breathing, making food? Then express, share, teach, create, design, justify. And we ask, so what is important to share? How will I share my learning with others? Then act. And finally, it is very important that decide and reflect. Reflecting is very important. At every stage of our inquiry, we stop to think about how we are thinking and feeling. We must ask, what does this mean to me? And what does it mean to the learners whom we are teaching? Now, how it happens in steps of inquiry. The inquiry process is very essential. First thing is wondering and questioning. Look at something, even if you are a KG teacher, if you are a principal, or if you are a senior grade teacher. First of all, for anything which you want to teach, you yourself wonder with children, oh, how it is happening. Now children will start thinking how it is happening. They will come with certain kind of solution. Why fan is rotating? They will come with certain kind of solutions, looking at observations. Why, how, if, can, did, I wonder. Then bank of prior knowledge. What is known and what is unknown. And the third stage is we investigate and gather. What method will you use? What conclusion can you make? Pause then, discuss and reassess. Try to reassess the problem, try to reassess the question, try to reassess the situation. And finally, reflect it out. This is design thinking in education. Like first is understand the student. Empathize means understand the student, review curriculum and past learnings, gather inspiration. What he has learned in class 1, then in class 2, how we have to go. Please remember that 90 to 95% of neurons are developed during the primary levels. And this is the foundation formative years when our brain has certain kind of aptitude and attitude which can't change throughout the life. You know the small elephant, when it is tied with a small rope, and when he becomes a giant elephant, still he thinks that I can't go away from the rope, and it continues in his brain. Same is with children. Second step is mind map. Gather resources, explore new ways to teach, and refine ideas. Very interestingly, my children, whenever I go to them, they look at me that I will ask them something interesting. And I tell them that if I say aha, you will say oho. If I say aha, you will say oho, but in same tune. So they look at me that what tune I say. And even whenever I'm conducting teachers workshop and principals workshop, I do this exercise. And there are many principals when they get back to me and they greet me with aha or oho. This is interesting that when you make a mind map, this means you are ideating a concept. And this concept should be practical outside the classroom, not inside the classroom. Maybe child is physically inside the classroom. Tell him to imagine. Imagination is the second step of any discovery. When he will start, imagine you are here. Imagine you are looking at garden. Imagine you are looking at plant. And then curate, translate your brainstorming into 3 major categories: purpose, measurement, and instruction. What is the purpose? Very interestingly, all of us know Newton's first equation, second equation, third equation, but we never use them throughout our life. Whatever practicals we have conducted in laboratories, we never use them. The point here is that I want to develop a curriculum where I want to teach my primary students how to replace the fuse, how to use the microwave, how to use all kind of things which are available in home. And the second thing, what is theory behind them? Very simple. Simple machine is a simple concept. And from there, the thread will start thinking, observing, and of course, reacting. So broad thinking, the details will come, and then prototype. Add the details, create a unit of instruction and learning activities. Get feedback from peers. Very interesting. Tell them that do this thing. You go and observe that what happens to a plant in 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day. Are they growing up? Or any other activity, whatever you tell them. Okay, you are looking at the door. When door is closing, hinges. What is the use of hinges? Class 1 child will say hinges. We'll try to learn what is the purpose of hinges. What is the purpose of lock? How lock is working? Very simple thing. But he will start thinking nobody has taught him what is hinges, what is lock, and how lock is working. Many of us want to be knowing how lock is working. Are there 7 levers, 8 levers, 9 levers? What does it mean? We only know that Tala means Aligarh ka Tala. Wonderful. That is all. And then try to reflect. Teach it, review, and reflect it. Think out of the box. And I used to say there is no box. Consider that there is no box. And think out. What does it mean to creatively think in new ways rather than the usual of expected way of thinking? Everybody think within the box because we have been given box. Always we have been told, okay, prepare this. This is given, this is given, and prepare this. Nobody has told. Right brothers were wrong brothers before that. And after so many observation experiments, they became right brothers. So do we have to do that? We will be wrong and slowly, slowly we will become right. So design thinking process, it takes communication, imagination. I'm taking cross, improve and plan, create and design. These are interrelated things. Now the role of a leader. Right now you are the principal. What you have to do. In my very first workshop in the month of April with another group, and there were many principals and teachers, and when I talked about all these things, they were very happy, and many of them started few things. I said, when we started, even you know how design think works. Even in my school, when I started the distance learning, remote learning, I was working, okay, teaching is the only thing. Then I thought how I can improvise. I started virtual assemblies. In assemblies, there were 3 children from 3 different places and singing a song together. And 4th child is playing guitar. So collaboration is coming. See, right now we have to see that what is missing in education. The collaboration is missing. They have to collaborate. They have to think together. They have to discuss. All these things are missing. How can we bring it? I started conducting virtual assemblies, amazing assemblies. Everything is happening in a webinar. I have a webinar of 1,000 people, and all students are looking at, and then children are preparing, and then some kind of discussion going on, even through webinar and virtual assemblies. It's very important that you should be observed. You should be visible to your teachers, students, and parents. If you are visible to parents, I conducted workshops for parents for all classes. I told them why we are doing this, how you can help the child, and how and why it is compulsory. You can have virtual events on social media, use everything. You can have MUN, you can have your own prize distribution. You don't think that nowadays we are restricted. Try to think beyond. And that is design thinking. Think out of the box. How you can have MUN, how you can have other kind of competition, singing competition, music competition, everything you can have. If you have webinars, very easily. You must have some videos which are being recorded and are showing on social media to boost the morale of parents and students who are feeling very sad and are under stress. Lot many videos in which you involve children. Children are involved and they are saying, yes, we will come again. We will rise. And that feeling will go everywhere. Children will also feel that. There should be handouts. There should be staff webinars. And it's very important during these days. Even through assessment. Assessment is just a kind of assessment which we are using to assess. The purpose of assessment is not to give them marks or evaluate. Please forget about evaluation. Assessment is a continuous assessment. Unfortunately, the CC died before its time because of our own disabilities. But the formative assessment, diagnose and complete process is very much required in any field. And the last thing, what is mindset and the growth mindset? What parents can do and what you can tell your children to do at home. Every day you decide that, okay, Sunday, Monday, not Sunday, here actually we have Friday, a holiday, so we keep Sunday also. So Monday, this activity, every child will pick up one photograph with parent and will do this. Means what? Maybe the Monday, they are putting up a picture where the child is doing some kind of jogging or some kind of exercise with parent. Tuesday, pajama day. Okay, whatever beautiful pajama you are wearing, show us the photograph. Very good, different thing. Wednesday, try to cut the salad, make the salad day. Next day, try to teach, but at home, it's very important for a parent and teacher that tell child one day, teach me today. You know that when and Dr. Saab would be knowing, when the grandchildren will be coming, grandchildren will be telling, okay, Dadu, I will teach you today. Give them chance so they feel empowered. Learning flower. Whenever they are learning something new, give a petal to the flower and say that when your flower will be complete, it will be good. Mistake cactus. You know it very well. Skillful smiley. If they do something good, skillful collaborating blocks. Last one is very important. Right now, many parents and teachers are facing this problem. Children's anger. Tell them that whenever you getting angry, then go to the shoe rack, take out your shoes and put them inside again. That will remind that you have done something wrong and you have to improve yourself. On wish board, put your wishes, whatever child wants to know. Let him imagine whatever he would like to be in life. Change agent monitor. Tell him that, okay, today you are the home monitor. And today you will decide who will do what and what will be the vegetable, what will be the dishes and all. One day in a week, let him be the boss of the house. Give him innovation trials. Okay, this is boat. Why this boat is flat? Why this boat is having this arrow? Why this boat is having, try that, let them think and make them planning masters. I'm quite sure children will learn and children are there to learn. I have given you just a fragrance of the design thinking. It's a very big workshop. I conduct workshops of 5 to 6 hours, but in 1 hour and 2 hours also I can give glimpses and very clear-cut views. But जैसे वो इत्र वाला इत्र सुंगाता है, उसके बाद में bottle बेचता है. That's why I have shown you just the glimpses of design thing. But please remember that knowledge is not knowledge just to acquire. It is to construct and to further go, that they should create knowledge. Thank you very much, sir. It was amazing here and it's a great experience.
Such a wonderful to get you from Doha. 7,500 students in the Birla Public School in Doha. They are fortunate enough to be a part of your program, of your process, whatever you are teaching over there. In such a short package, in such a short time, what you have given, that the world has moved from knowledge construction to knowledge creation, and India is still at knowledge innovation. I think a lot to be done, lot to be worked out, and collaboration, which you told, is missing. Yes, it's a very important ingredient point. Inquire, understand, construct, apply, new knowledge creation. Wonderful, wonderful. I'm going to say my great salutations to you. And when you have mentioned, I myself have been motivated so much that this particular concept or idea or implementation is required immediately in our education system in India. We got to empower entire education system.
I must surprise you, sir. Sorry for, I must surprise you that PISA in India right now, everybody is talking about PISA because India was 72nd out of 74 countries in 2009.
Yes.
Very proudly, I say, my vice principals are also in the parties, among the participants, that we scored 499 in 2018, and we are 10 marks above the European standards. Our school at school, And if
God
we
bless.
consider that we are equivalent to even beyond Norway means at 19th place we are. This is not to boast, but to say that Indians are Indians and they are the best in the world. And in international, the science Olympiad, our child got a silver medal, first time appearing and getting silver medal. This means Indian students can do wonders. Only we have to move from knowledge acquisition to knowledge creation.
Thank you, sir.
Let them think out of the box.
Thank you, sir. That particular slide was also very meaningful where you mentioned that let's think out of the box, and that particular illumination and light coming over there. Wonderful, wonderful. My deep salutations and great regards to you. Thanks for joining us from Doha. We are proud of you, and there's so much to pick up from you. We will certainly take your valuable inputs in our final policy and final action plan, which we submit to the Government of India on 15th of August on India's Independence Day. Thank you, sir. Thanks for joining.
My pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me now extend a very hearty welcome, very warm welcome to Madam Chitra Raviji, and she is going to share her thought process because the stage has been set. You had the digital advice, you had the inputs from Amitaji, now the digital, the design thinking also being discussed, and now is you got to build the whole bridge, whatever we can do the best in the education system. With these words, ladies and gentlemen, let me have my celebrity this evening coming on stage live, Madam Chitra Ravi.
Thank you, Sharma ji. It was a pleasure being on this platform. Thanks for inviting. Thanks to Luthra ma'am as well. I think all has been quite said so beautifully by Dr. Amita ji and Dr. Sharma ji. I don't know, I was quite awestruck with so much of wisdom coming from decades of experience. And while thinking about it, I'm gonna be very crisp because we already crossed the 8 o'clock. But I thought I should be.
Ma'am, you do justice with your subject. Don't rush. Don't rush. We are prepared for that because people are going for morning jog, having their cup of coffee, tea in Canada, USA, Latin America. People had their lunch in Europe, and evening over here is still young. Nothing to worry. Do justice with your subject.
Thank you so much, Sharma ji. So I thought I will pick something perhaps I would like to elaborate. I'm my organization Chrysalis, and we've been working in the space of formative years. I think Dr. Amita ji did speak about that window of opportunity. That the years in the primary, and I think Mr. Sharma also spoke about it. It's so important that many of the things that we've been hearing in the last 1 hour, be it thinking out of the box or be it holding fort, this window of opportunity cannot be missed. And we need to really focus as a country, as a education ecosystem, as individual schools. I'm sure there are many principals and leaders, school leaders here. We need to really focus on both early education and the primary years, which forms in our mind the formative years. Let's say 2.5 years when the child actually comes out of the comfort zone of their homes to a formal socializing setup and adopt a guru like our nation speaks about, who we believe this ecosystem should awaken that unique, extraordinary potential that every child brings to the table. And in this I want to say that I think both the speakers alluded, we are guilty of conditioning minds. Let's face it. When the child is the seed, and all that the seed requires is a conducive environment to grow, and we should wait to see what this potential of the seed is and how big a tree and how beautiful flowers and fruits it's going to blossom to. We are guilty of conditioning, and we have been fighting as an organization, and I have a strong hundreds, 1,000 schools of school leaders who partner with us, and many well-wishers who have been, supporting this vision of ours. We condition minds. And here, I think much has been said about, creative thinking, design thinking, all these are so critical. I want to perhaps dwell a little on what I think is very important, apart from social emotional skills, which are very critical. When we are talking about things like resilience, how many of us, and I think Dr. Gulshan Sharma, when we spoke, you started off so beautifully talking about, that mental fitness, right? I mean, we talk so much about physical fitness. Today, we are seeing that resilience, that mental sturdiness, and that inner strength that we all need to tap into. We have a reservoir of inner strength, but unfortunately, we do not see that. And we are always, and today with social media, I think we're all buckling in the pressure of peer pressures and, social media pressures. Where do we start? We start in the early education. We start when the child steps out and comes to our schools, in the kindergarten, in the primary. I want to just focus on two critical things. One, I'm going to talk about metacognition, which is a very, very important part, even beyond the social emotional, because I see now the SEL as we speak, the social emotional learning has become a part of the discourse of the nation and education. I don't know how much of it is actually brought into schools in the way it should be. And I need a separate platform for that, Dr. Sharma ji. But today I thought I will go even beyond that. Very, very important two concepts that are not even in the discourse of this education system, which is reflection and metacognition. When we speak about reflection and metacognition, and I'll take this as two critical pointers that I will be speaking about, how much of opportunity for one's own reflection we provide as an integral part of teaching and learning, right? How many times do we ask the child, can you do this? We talk about learning outcomes of teachers. The teacher writes the learning outcomes on the lesson plans. We tell them to put it out there in the blackboard. But do we make the child mull over what she or he have grasped, right? We say that, make the child say, what can you do now? Now I can, and that is so important. We need to make the child learning visible to the child. And on that learning and thinking, there should be a beautiful layer, a very in-depth layer of what I think is important, called reflection. Today, we talk about intelligence in multiple ways. Do we talk about the reflection intrapersonal as a very, very key reflection, right? Today, then we say, how do we do that? Do we integrate mindfulness into the class? Do we integrate deep learning? We are all superficially saying, now let's cover the portions. We know that, right? We do not uncover learning in most of our schools today. We cover the syllabus, we cover the portions, and that's the discourse and language and vocabulary in most of our minds. And we are a very hurried society, Dr. Sharma ji. I think we need to pace down. We need to tell ourselves that, we all have a good life. And for that, we need to smell the roses amidst the rose bush as we are walking. We are not, for us, it's more the thorns and perhaps just the visual, but do we stop and pause to smell the roses? Do we teach the child to smell the rose? Do we bring in the nuances of learning? In a hurried society, music is not just about the rhythm and melody. What about the nuances? And do we, and we, we've heard about music appreciation, we've heard about film appreciation. In Chrysalis, we say, let's do lesson appreciation. You take a topic, you take a concept, and do we get deep? Is there deep learning there that we expose the child to? The society has lost the ability to work deeply, right? We are all in a hurry. We want to do everything, just complete it. that pursuit of excellence, can we bring it in the early education? Today, we speak about attention span. We speak about whether children are able to engage. And that's why, even when you introduce me, I always ask principals, we have attendance registers for the child's physical presence in the class. Do you have a register to gauge and measure the mental attendance of the children in class? I mean, how much can we gauge the engagement? And is the teacher and the child even spending that quality time? So reflection is a very, very integral part. In every lesson plan, we tell our schools, have a reflection for the child. It is not just to consolidate the concept, make them reflect. That is one part. The second part I want to talk about is what we popularly and in a pedagogic way call as metacognition. Cognitive abilities, we are all talking about, application, conceptual understanding. Is the child able to analyze, apply, all the Bloom's levels that we are so familiar with? But are we also talking about thinking about one's own thinking? And that is metacognition, right? Do we provide the opportunity and the environment in a classroom where there is opportunities for metacognition? Goal setting, and make the child reflect. This is the goal I have to say. Simple example I can give you, when you give homework to your students, right? Or when you do it can be a collaborative exercise, like Dr. Sharma was saying. It can be, children sitting in class and engaged in their own work. It can be project-based learning. How many times we tell the child, set a goal for yourself. What is the time you're going to take to complete this exercise? Don't have a competition mindset there. Ask the child to say, how much have you lived up to your own expectations? The goals that you have set, have you achieved it, not achieved it? And most importantly, in metacognition and reflection, let us provide an environment where mistakes can be made and mistakes can be celebrated, right? We teach children not to fail, and that's the biggest bane of our education system. And then we don't take failure when we go up. Teach the child to fail. Tell the child that failure and mistakes are stepping stones to move forward in our society, in our lives. So I think these are very, very, very important aspects of education, which unfortunately most lesson plan templates do not provide, and that is something we want to, as an organization, bring in. And in the rush for time and syllabus, we take so much of, we give so much of priority to the vast expanse of content, but do not allow, I think it came up, allowing children to reflect on how they learn and not just on what they learn. I think Mr. Sharma touched upon it. I want to elaborate on that. Do we allow teachers to say, should I take 2 topics this year? And I give the choice to my teachers as a school principal and say, now tell me 2 of these topics that you want to go as deep as you can, and provide an opportunity for 3 other lessons that she would have done at that time to become self-learning modules for children. Who said children cannot learn by themselves? We are here talking about giving something. I will tell you, Dr. Gulshan, and everybody here, the COVID today is an out of syllabus in our lives. Do we believe that? Do we recognize that? All of us had, plans for March, April, May, and today we are in June and we don't know whatever. All the plans have been squashed. Would we sit back and say, no, this is out of syllabus hai? This is not in the syllabus and we have not covered it? No, life is always going to throw out of syllabus. Then why in education system we are so tight to syllabus and not allowing children to go beyond the expanse of what is to be, what can be? So do we have such simple frameworks in school where the teacher makes choices, and more importantly, even the child is allowed to make choices? And in reflection, in metacognition, when children are allowed to make choices right from their kindergarten, give them options. If you don't want the choice to be, just laissez-faire, I would say, Give them a framework and say, now you have 3-4 things, you pick a choice. And I can tell you the magic starts there. When a child, we call it mutual negotiation. When a child and the teacher in class, when we are able to negotiate and come up with some ground rules in the classroom, ground rules for learning, the child will abide by it. But we are reversing it. We are trying to push a lot of things to the children, and same with the home scenario as well. I want to just take the next piece of how the COVID has taught us a lot. Even in adversity, I think if we are grateful, if we are pausing for a moment to say, I want to thank COVID. How many of us have said that? Get up in the morning and say, I want to thank COVID-19. I'm not trivializing the devastation that this has brought into the entire world. It has brought a devastation that is immeasurable, that is, cannot even be counted. And I hear many people saying we want to forget 2020. But let us, I think when we connect the dots sometime later, we will see that 2020 has been more significant than many other years that we have seen in our lives. And there, why do we thank it? Because COVID is a hard slap on every educator, right? It is slapping all of us and saying, did you even see this coming? Were you even prepared for it? And what are the kind of things that we are going to compromise and give up? This is the time to think that we should work on priorities. And I agree, online class is not just a simple thing that I can just rush videos or do something. There needs to be a lot of thought. Technology has to be leveraged. I don't think there are two ways to it. Yes, I think Dr. Amita spoke beautifully about the inequity and, what are those lesser privileged and children are going to be totally out of this and create learning gaps. While we crack that over a period of time and learn to bring access, we should also look at how we can leverage technology. Otherwise today we will all not be on the same platform here and talking to thousands of people. So how do we leverage that responsibly? Not just by, coming and throwing again content, but when can we even look at skills and see how reflection, metacognition, social, emotional, all these can be brought. Let us face it, we adults are learning, speaking all about COVID on social media, running through the news. Imagine the child at home, what kind of trauma they may be going through. They see that adults are disturbed, adults are going through some panic. Is my life safe? They may not be able to articulate it. They may not be able to express it. And we do not allow them to express it. We do not give that environment where they can talk about this. And it is there that we are creating a lot of demands on their head. And that is where we as educators should pause and say, I'm going to focus on this social emotional health of my child. I'm going to, yes, learning is important, but we need to look at how I will integrate key skills and key knowledge in a manner in which there is a very big emotional safety for the child. And in that emotional safety, let the child really blossom. I take the metaphor always, and many of my friends who are watching here would know, I say that we are nothing more than gardeners of our children's dreams, right? We have to be the gardeners of our children's dreams, nothing more, nothing less. What does a gardener do? The gardener provides all the necessary nutrition factors like water, ensures that the plant gets enough sunlight, and then he steps back and says, you grow into that plant that you are destined, you are the potential to grow into. Do we do that? Or do we look at a lime tree every day and say, become an apple tree tomorrow? That's the biggest injustice we are doing. Can we become that gardener of dreams? And all of us together, I think this is the best time for us to go back to the vision that by which many of us have started school, started organization. It's been a beautiful period of, trying to make things work. get the priority and see if we can achieve for our country, our children, and education at large. I think this is very important. So going back, reflection, intrapersonal, metacognition, and ultimately awakening the human potential in every child, not conditioning it to what we think that we know everything, right? And we think this is what it is. We know that it is not going to be what we even can surmise. Today it's the COVID, tomorrow we don't know what it is. That is where we say, are we creating independent thinkers in today's children? And for that, they need to be continuous learners, lifelong learners, and they have to be contributing citizens of tomorrow. And are we contributing citizens for today? For high time, we reflect on our role as educators also. And high time, we stand up for the child, we believe in the child, and stand up and say, yes, there are conflicting things. I think the government and everybody is confused on where are we going? Should we reopen the school, not reopen the school? Should we have online classes? Should we ban online classes? But I think a teacher and the school have their own choices to make. And if the choice comes from the beautiful intent of giving the best for the child, for standing up for the child, if the school can look at the future roadmap and provide, I'm telling you, nothing can stop. Nothing can stop us. And with that, with a plea that all of us, let us stand up for the child. This is the time when we will know that tomorrow's citizens are today's kindergartners in our school, today's primary children in our school. And we owe a beautiful world, and we owe to create in them, to awaken in them independent, critical, creative, reflective, societal thinkers. And they will tomorrow create and live in a beautiful world where perhaps many of us will be old age, citizens, and we will relish and say, not bad, I want to give a pat on my back that I have created and contributed something that is giving me a lot of hope in life. Thank you. I want to stop there because, I think many points have been said. I just wanted to add a few points. I also want to, through this platform, big salutation to all the teachers and all the school principals. I have been personally talking to so many of them. Yes, the doctors are out there and we are celebrating the health. We should rightfully celebrate, but it's time we celebrate school principals and teachers who are leaving no stone unturned to ensure that our children are not, their education is continuing, their learning is continuing. So my namaste, and my special namaste to you, Dr. Sharma. You have inspired me today, and I think we have so much to learn from you and your wisdom and experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. What a wonderful inspiration from your side. The cake was prepared by Amita ji and AP Sahab together, and you have done the beautiful icing on the top of that. My deepest gratitudes and thanks to you. And few clips I'll take from there, that we have to be the gardeners of our children's dreams. And secondly, something very innovative, which I never heard before. Somebody, for the first time in my lifetime of last 70-year journey, somebody mentioned that we have a physical attendance in the schools. Have you ever taken the mental attendance? My God, what a beautiful thought which you have given over there. I've taken, and of course, early education, primary years, and also something very interesting, you have touched me. We are guilty of conditioning minds. We are guilty of conditioning minds, which we should not do. Rather, we should give them an opportunity as much as they can. And that's why I didn't stop any of my speaker anywhere, irrespective of the time, whatsoever was available, because I wanted to learn the best from each one of you. One of the most beautiful panelists this evening, my deepest salutation,
Thank you.
namaskar, vanakkam, salam, and jai hind to everybody. You are also the warriors in your own way, like the doctors, nurses, paramedicals, but you people are doing wonderful. We need more time. We need more time from all of you. I personally feel that we would require, because he mentioned about 5 hour session, and Chitra ma'am, you are a motivator also. That's what I picked up the threads from there, because children do need the positive notes and mindfulness and deep learning and appreciation. Like a student, I've taken all the notes. I've taken all the notes, everything I've noted over here. And-
We need our children to become like you, Dr. Sharma, continuous
And-
lifelong learners, you know,
yes,
that's
yes,
so
yes.
rare.
And Sharmaji, I must say, I'm a student of yours also. Observation leads to thinking. Thinking leads to designing. What a child is learning, how child is learning, knowledge acquisition, knowledge construction, knowledge application. I have taken all the notes of everybody's. So I'm so grateful to all of you. So much we all have acquired, and I'm pretty sure slowly and gradually, with the baby steps, in a humble steps, all of us, we are trying to build. My request to you would be, please bring in more speakers, more panelists, more good orators, thought processors, and people those can really empower education. Let's build this entire confluence in such a beautiful way. आप लोगों को इस हवन कुंड में अपनी सामग्री डालनी है. That is the way we all have to work out. My deep regards, my deep thanks, and once again, my deepest gratitude to all of you. And people, those who have joined us from world over. I was watching, I was seeing on my mobile continuously, people are telling me how to log in, how to join, because seats are already full. We cannot come on that. And people, those have come on Facebook, those have come on the watch parties. I salute you. You're wonderful people. And education is the base of human development, humanity, for the peace, for the harmony, and the better world for all of us. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. And deep regards. Namaskar. And Jai Hind as a soldier.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you.